What's up, Mecha fans, and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going back again to Requiem for Vengeance, and I'm going to be ranking all 6 episodes of the series from worst to best. Before I dive into my ranking though, I want to hear from you guys, so head on down to the comment section below and let me know how you would rank all 6 of these episodes, like I said, from worst to best. And while you're there, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe if you are a fan of Mecha anime content and want to see plenty more videos like this in the future. Coming in last place at number 6 is episode 3, titled Junkyard. Now this is when our group of survivors arrive at the recycling centre, and to me this is the least exciting episode of the series. There's really not a whole lot going on in terms of action. I think there's a very brief bit at the start, but other than that, it's practically an actionless episode. It builds on character a little bit, but not enough for me to say like it's a notable episode by any means. The shining spots of it though are of course the introduction to Alfie, who is one of the best characters in Requiem for Vengeance in my opinion, and of course it has this great cliffhanger of the EX and the GM arriving and starting their run up towards the two Zakus. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot that's super notable, hence why it comes in last place. At number 5 is episode 2, titled Broken. Now of course this episode does still have a lot of the stuff that's great within like the back half of episode 1 with the EX attacking, and you have this real intensity and like sense of dread with all our characters pretty much being on the ground and kind of seeing a lot of this battle from afar. So you do get that perspective of boots on the ground and this towering mobile suit above them. There's a certain intensity to it there. However, because it's very focused on characters on the ground, the mediocre human animation really does shine here. So you get kind of action involved, but it's just not at all exciting, and I want to say that it's not really quite as intense just because the animation on the humans in this series is really not that great. Like I said though, you do still have the EX there, you do still have that intensity of this big attack, and you also do have a great action sequence towards the end with the EX facing off against two Goof Customs, which I cannot praise like the mecha action enough in this series. That stuff looks phenomenal. It's just the human animation, because this is a very boots on the ground, human level episode, it doesn't quite shine as much as some of the other stuff in this series. At number 4 is episode 6, titled Convoy to Oblivion. Now I don't think this finale is as bad as some people have said it is. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, of course. I'm not going to say they're wrong for saying that, but for me personally, there's a lot of stuff that does really work here. First off, it's the big climactic battle, and you just have a lot of mobile suit action. Like all of the action in this episode is pretty much mobile suit centric. You have a lot of Goof Customs, you have the Zaku tanks, you have the assault gun tanks, you've got the EX showing up, you have this final confrontation between the EX and Area, and I think all that stuff is really, really good here. I even like the kind of conclusion to that conflict. A lot of people will say that it's very underwhelming and very sudden, but I think that's what makes it work. It's not this big climactic moment, it's just they just get stabbed, and that's it. And it's as simple as that. But it also very effectively portrays that, yeah, like no one's really safe in this war, no one's like a big hero, no one's a big villain. People are just people at the end of the day, and they're just kind of picked off willy-nilly. Emotionally speaking, I don't think the finale quite packs the punch that it was hoping to, and that's mainly for me because of how conflicting and hypocritical a lot of the final monologue is, with Iria talking about preventing children from being taken into war again, and she stayed on Earth and continued to fight with the remnants of Zeon. But to me that kind of goes against the character arc that Iria was going through, where she was becoming almost like anti-war, kind of going through this similar arc to someone like Kira in Gundam Seed, or Shiro in the 8th MS team, where they see that everything is not as black and white as they maybe thought it was originally, and they're seeing that, yeah, there's people on both sides that are evil and good and all this kind of stuff. And I just don't think that final monologue and where Iria ends up as a character quite matches where she was going throughout the series. At number 3 we have episode 5, titled The River. Now I always love a good infiltration, where the certain group of people are going in and pretending to be this other set of people. In this case, it is a group of our Zeon characters going in and pretending to be Federation officers. And to me, that's always really cool. Infiltration stuff is always quite exciting to watch. But you also get the first coming together of Iria and the pilot of the EX, and kind of shifts her perspective on things to the point that even, when it comes to episode 6 and the finale, she doesn't want to kill this kid and she doesn't want to destroy the EX, even though it wiped out her whole team, this found family that she'd made. To me, that's a very effective point within her character arc. but you also have a fantastic action sequence at night, so it always looks better at night anyway, because you don't have the kind of problems of animation sometimes showing through. Fantastic action sequence there. You just have great moments for Area in this episode, and it of course sets it up very nicely for the finale. Our runner-up in second place is episode 4, titled Nightcaller. This is of course where we get the EX and the GM going up against the two remaining Red Wolves in their new Zaku's that they've made. Awesome action sequence, probably my favourite of the series to be quite honest, aside from stuff that we get at the end of episode 1, but in terms of mobile suit on mobile suit action, this for me absolutely takes the cake, because it shows kind of how they've made these Zaku's, how they can then work against the beam weapons. Really, really cool stuff. And of course then as well, you do actually have a brief cameo from Yuri Kellen from the 8th MS team, who is one of my favourite characters in that series. You go watch my character tier list, you'll see whereabouts he lands. And this guy just has such a great presence. He's so much fun. He brings such an energy to every scene that he's in. So implementing him into this series in a way that feels natural. It doesn't feel like a unnecessary cameo that kind of breaks continuity or anything like that. Like, it makes sense why a character like him would show up here. And I thought that all the stuff that he did was awesome. I kind of wish he was in the series a little bit more. He would have injected like so much more life and charisma into every scene. But for the amount of time, the brief moment of time that he shows up, he's great. And he's one of the best parts of the series, to be quite honest. But you also have a really good conversation between him and Area, and it really highlights how great a character Yuri is in really caring about his soldiers. And he's saying, you know, he hates losing people, he also hates losing wars. It's just a great scene, and like I said, I wish he was in this series a little bit more, but for where he is in this episode, the brief role that he plays, really cool stuff. Action in this episode is truly top-notch. GM design is fantastic. It's just an overall great action-centric episode that, again, set things up nicely for the next episode and included a very nice cameo. But of course, coming in first place is episode 1, titled Haunted Forest. Now this episode, just overall, is a fantastic start to this series. We kick off with this great action set piece that introduces the Red Wolves, shows how badass they can be, shows, you know, how much of a reputation that they have as well, and then you kind of switch things around right at the end, where you bring in the EX and it just tears everything up. Wipes out 2 members of the Red Wolves, which again, we've just been shown that these were great soldiers and really had a reputation of being great within Zeon. So to bring in the EX, it just shows how powerful it is. And it makes it feel scary, it makes it feel like a horror villain. The way it shows up, it's almost in the shadows, emerges from the forest, red eyes, and then just comes and wrecks everything. It is a crazy kind of end to the episode, but it's just all around a very, very solid episode. Does the right amount of character building, does, you know, gives us the right amount of action, but also just kind of, I don't want to say teases us, but really brings you in. It kind of hooks you, especially towards the end, with what this series can potentially be. The series never really hits the height, in my opinion, of that first episode, but I still think it's relatively solid. But that first episode, man, it is a great start to this series, and I wish that it maintained the real height of quality that this episode did. There we have it though, that is my ranking of all 6 episodes of Gundam Requiem for Vengeance. Before I get out there, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe if you are a fan of Mecha anime content and want to see plenty more videos like this in the future. Also, like I said earlier, head on down to the comment section below, let me know your ranking of these episodes from worst to best. Stay tuned for plenty more Gundam videos on the horizon. If you like Requiem for Vengeance, I've got a character tier list coming soon, already got a mobile suit tier list and a review of the series up on the channel as well. 8th MS team as well, got a mobile suit tier list coming for that, and there's already some videos related to that on the channel. So especially if you're a fan of Boots on the Ground Gundam, there's plenty of content here, but if you're a fan of Gundam in general, there's already so much content on my channel relating to the series and plenty more to come in the future. As always, thank you so much for tuning into Mecha Chat today. I'll see you guys next time.